Yeah, I was at Walmart yesterday. I bought a inflatable Minion Halloween thing.
Yeah.
She loves it, so
Yeah,
whatever.
it's like
I
bright
bet.
green.
It is bright.
I was like, did Jerry Shepherd move back on this?
Bought a
You remember
inflatable
Halloween
Minion
decorations
Halloween
from
thing.
last year?
Oh, yeah.
The skeleton.
Yeah.
Did they?
It's like
I
bright
bet. I
green.
haven't
It is
seen.
bright.
I
No,
was
not
like,
Yeah,
did
not
Jerry
yet.
Shepherd move back on this?
Wait till Christmas.
You remember?
It'll be even better.
Yeah,
I had to do it every year.
I got to go to
That's-
an
great.
Amish wedding
She loves the
yesterday.
Christmas
Oh, yeah?
decorations. I'm like,
They don't see them. I
It
like
was
riding
just for
around
the
and looking.
English people.
I used to
So they like
just, like,
served all the English people dinner and then their
one
actual
string of
Amish
lights,
wedding
and
is
then it was
Thursday,
like,
but that
he's like,
was
you know, once you
for
got
the
older,
girls,
I'm
that-
like,
one of the
you
girls
go
that
do
work
more,
for
and
us
next
is
thing you know, I'm like
getting
buying
married. So
blow ups and all this other thing. She really wants me to buy where I was.
I thought it's pretty nice.
Someone's it's gotta be 40 foot tall, inflatable skeleton. Oh, it's huge.
I saw one.
Where
at
did-
Lowe's
I'm
or
like,
Home
we have to draw a
Depot.
line
It was
somewhere.
ridiculous. And yeah, really huge.
But I was at Lowe's yesterday and they already got Christmas decorations.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's still more.
Amy's coming here. Amy, you're gonna be here.
Oh, she's gonna be on the phone. And she was gonna talk about the exceptions, but she doesn't feel like it.
Oh,
She was gonna do that during the report of officers.
but she's not doing that.
She doesn't feel all that.
Oh, no.
She'd rather go.
What?
In
In
person.
person. Okay, so we're not gonna talk about it. We have time.
Yeah, it's before the end. But yeah.
No, I know, we'd like to get the word out, get it done, settled.
Yeah.
Whatever we're gonna do.
She's got.
Oh, fine.
Yeah.
Did she tell? Barb?
Yes, well, she wasn't in yesterday.
Okay,
So they haven't done together.
okay, good.
Since. Oh, they haven't been really. She wasn't in last Tuesday. Oh, she was in last Tuesday.
Yeah, but that was probably Friday.
Yeah, that.
Well, I mean, I suppose
Yeah.
technically, but
Yeah, Tuesday, Amy was supposed to be here, and she said she wasn't feeling well. Later in the day, she said, yeah. Stop fooling around.
You want some? So our next. Yes.
don't get us going.
Good evening. Welcome to the September 24th Town Board Meeting for the Town of Rush. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pam, if you call the roll, please.
Councilwoman Morale,
Here.
Councilman Chase,
Here.
Councilman Brown,
Here.
Councilman Wise,
Here.
Supervisor Wilbur,
Here. I have one announcement from National Grid. They're going to be National Grid contractors will be performing on-site field reviews, including identifying wetlands and performing environmental assessments and surveys. The work will be done on foot, and contractors will flag and mark areas as needed for the expansion of the transmission lines in the Cola substation. If you see anybody out in the field near those facilities, it's probably National Grid. And I had the new schedule for the range. I think that's posted on the website and it's posted out there. And that's all I have for announcement. Now we'd like to go into an executive session. Talk about pending litigation. Make a motion of closing town board meeting.
Motion to go into executive session.
Motion to go into an executive session.
Aye.
First is Karen. What else am I watching? If you want to.
Nobody else.
Yeah. Yes. But they So they said, but when I read it, there were phrases in that they forgot. The exception.
Pictures.
And they said, well, you know, we're not.
Related to the chase. They have a tree in their property that fell from what they think is our. These are probably. Past the five. They said, yeah, we will know. I didn't say anything. What's one of the trees in that feet fell into there. I did talk to us. I don't see her. Yes, I don't want to take it. Leaving it there.
You know, it's so surprising. I don't
Oh, and the dashboard. She said there.
Yeah, there's no sense.
After one.
Password safe. It's not gonna run. So I'm glad you got.
I'd say.
Oh, wow. I thought some of the city. I mean, it's. Yeah, his ratios. All right. Racial chair.
I took. But it's just.
Like to make a motion to come back into session. Town board meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public comment period. Everybody has something to say? 3 minutes, please.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Kelsey, resident on Middle Road. For the last few meetings, I've been here to express some concerns about meeting minutes and sort of record keeping among the town. Tonight, I'm here to share the same concerns again regarding our records as well as our notices this time. Starting with notices, the legal notice for the public hearings. For our public hearing tonight on the penalties for offenses, I did notice on our town webpage that we had two versions of that public hearing legal notice. One of the versions was posted on September 19th and actually reads as enacted amended local law. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. I don't know if you guys are aware that that was posted. The second version posted September 23rd. It actually mixed some text about both the penalties for offenses and the public tax levy within the same document. So again, just adding some confusion. I mean, I was a little bit confused on, what was being discussed, and maybe other residents were also confused about that. Based on the timing of those public notices as well, I wasn't sure if we actually had enough timing of those notices being posted for the penalties for offenses to actually hold the public hearing tonight. Regarding meeting minutes, September 10th meeting minutes, I've noted a couple of errors that I've seen in meeting minutes over the last few months here. There was a roll vote that was taken during the September 10th meeting to approve the August 13th meeting minutes. It didn't show the full roll vote. It only shows 2 board members' votes. So again, just bringing that to your attention. I assume we should have the full roll because I remember voting on it or hearing the votes on it, at least. Similar to the September 10th meeting minutes, looking at my own personal statements during that meeting, the comments I gave during the public comment period. I made some comments about budget status, tax levy, things like that. And I just noted they weren't captured. Now, I know in the last meeting, Pam had talked about the meeting minutes being a summary of the meeting, not verbatim. I understand that. But even if we're in the context where we're seeing a summary that's missing information, it's something that we should be paying attention to. We discussed that the records that we have are meeting minimum standards. We're going to have a public tax hearing tonight where you guys are going to ask our opinions on raising our tax levy above a maximum. So if we're expecting a minimum from the board and the town, please, I urge you not to expect over the maximum from us. Thank you.
Evening, Mary Ellen Heyman from 1714 Middle Road. I'm not sure where I signed up, so if I just cut somebody off, I'm sorry. But I have, because of the last meetings and the minutes discussion, I'd like to say that I've worked with Pam before, although she probably doesn't remember me, but it's always been a pleasure. I've always found you to be great to work with. And this is in no way a reflection on you, because I realized that you were out for a while too, during the past few months. However, I also heard that there were some comments from residents regarding the minutes that were totally incorrect as far as the minutes not really mattering. So I do have with me, and I'm going to leave it for you, and you can put it in the minutes for tonight if you choose, from the Committee on Open Government and the Open Meetings Law, and our friend Robert Freeman. And if anybody's been in government long enough, they hear from Robert Freeman when they ask questions, and he's always very lengthy in his discussion of the issue, and it's a good summary. And I think that it might be helpful for some folks who come and don't really get the whole picture of how important minutes are and how important what you do here is, because it does not only affect all of our lives, but it also affects the potential yes or no for legal issues. Because if the minutes aren't right and it doesn't show, it didn't happen. So thank you very much for listening to me. I'll take this and I'm going to go back and sit down and wait for the public hearing. Can I bring this to you, Pam? Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Janet Glocker, Rush resident. Invenergy and Horseshoe Solar added many compliance documents to the document matter and management DMM on August 28th. My question to the town board is, when have you arranged for Todd Kanabe, or I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, to address Rush residents and answer questions? Since the June 11th meeting 15 weeks ago, I've been respectfully asking that you arrange a meeting where Mr. Kanabe, as well as Niagara Mohawk representatives, together address residents. Mr. Kanabe addressed Caledonia residents and town board on July 10th. Niagara Mohawk provided a well-attended public session in Rush on July 15th. As previously noted, on August 28th, Horseshoe dropped a large number of documents concerning various plans: vegetative management plan, facilities communication plan, environmental monitoring plan, invasive species control and management plan, evidence of real property rights and good neighbor agreements. There's a request for non-disclosure, as well as a redacted 198-page cultural resources avoidance, minimization, and mitigation plan. When is Mr. Kanabe coming to Rush to explain what these compliance documents mean? I recall that Councilwoman Morelli reported that he would be communicating with the town board frequently. Have you invited him? What was his response? If you have not invited him, please do so. These compliance reports are public since August 28th. I have questions. I'm sure others do as well. I'll send this document to you and respectfully ask that it be part of the official records of this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Robin Rapport, Meadowwood. 1 year ago, the current board campaigned for increase in salaries and spending, which required bypassing the New York State property tax cap. The supervisor position was made full-time, which doubled his salary, and made the position eligible for paid health insurance, retirement, and additional state benefits. The park and recreation budget went from $65,000 to over $200,000. The dog officer salary was almost doubled, and the animal control expenses went from $500 in 2024 to over $15,000 in 2025, or for 2025. Yet money for flood erosion was unchanged from 2024 to 2025, less than for animal control, and no entry for increasing the capital reserve fund, despite at least 2 disastrous flooding events in the town hall. Healthcare and energy expenses are increasing. These increases hit all of us, but most of us are on a fixed income that does not grant a 20 to 70% or more salary increase to cover rising costs. In order to save money, the town could reduce allocations for services, for safety, policing, refuse pickup, furnishing water and internet. And the town doesn't supply those services. The town of Rush has developed an excellent library, a first-rate fire and emergency response service, but the town cannot afford to continue to purchase new capital equipment and renovate buildings as though its citizens have access to an unending supply of money. In making the second request in as many years to again bypass the tax cap, the town managers have demonstrated neither strong financial management skills nor extensive fiduciary responsibility. Thank you.
Anyone else? Pardon? Oh, we'll move on to the public hearings. Proposed law enforcement of penalties and offenses. Pam, you want to read that?
I think there's 2 sheets over on the table here. Last night. Speak. So the first, I believe is, needs to take notice that a public hearing will be held at the Rush Town Hall, on Rush Town Hall, 5977 East Henrietta Road, Rush, New York, on the 24th of September, 2025 at 7:15. For the purpose of discussing the proposed local law of 2025 to add a new section 36-16 enforcement penalties for offenses. At such hearing, any person may be heard in favor of or against the property tax. Excuse me, this is not. Maybe the wrong one. Then you heard for the penalties for offenses at the above time and date by order of the Rush Town Board, and I apologize for that misprint. The second public hearing, you want me to read them both?
No, might as well just do them one.
Do you want to?
Just so that we can have questions and comments on each one. That's good.
First speaker I had for the penalties is Mary Ellen Heyman.
Did you want me to just give an overview of what?
Oh.
Effectively, this is adding section H to the existing enforcement section. And it's specifically designed to allow the town to, in instances where a property owner has failed to adhere to the appearance ticket issued by the building inspector, code enforcement officer, fire marshal, the floodplain administrator, to do X, Y, or Z of the property to get it up to code so that it is safe and habitable. If they fail to adhere to those terms and conditions, this would allow the town to, at the direction of code enforcement or building, to engage someone to actually do the work at the property, get the property back up to code, and then charge those individuals back. If they fail to repay the town for those costs could be then levied onto that property owner's tax bill so that the town is reimbursed. This is not something that, in speaking with Mr. Lundbeck, obviously on a few different matters, this isn't something that the town would be looking to do on every single matter. This would be in the rare instance where we've had serious health and safety violations for properties and property owners simply just refusing to address and comply with the town's requirements. This just gives another tool in the toolbox to try to enhance enforcement and make sure that we can make sure structures are safe for occupants.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
The current code does not provide for that recourse for the town?
No, we can issue appearance tickets, but we can't take the step of actually, the town at any point could improve somebody's property. They could go out and improve it. It's just the reimbursement aspect we would be able to do. But this would specifically allow for the town to be able to engage a third party to do the work and then seek reimbursement. And if the reimbursement isn't paid, allow that to be levied on to the tax.
So thank you, but then I also see there's sections about fines to the tune of $200 a day or $250 a day. Can you explain how that works?
That would work if if you have a code violation of the property, you can conceptually be charged a fine for every day that violation exists. That is designed to, again, encourage people to address the remedies. So the town would have the ability to assess a fine and a penalty for failure to comply with the code. If those fines aren't paid, there's no kind of recourse by the town after that fact. And if the issue isn't remedied, we've got an unsafe structure that we can keep finding and keep imposing penalties, but you know, this will allow us to take an additional step to actually remedy the situation and charge those costs back to them.
So these rates, is that comparable with what other towns do? I didn't go and
No, it's
research what
somewhat
other
consistent.
towns' laws say.
Some go as high as $500 a day. And again, this isn't the town shall impose these. It's just the ability to impose those. And it's really just to try to basically encourage compliance and get people to pay attention and take these things seriously. But we've had instances where we've got property owners that have significant issues with their properties that they're continuing to live in, and it's not a safe and habitable condition. And we don't have the current tools available to take the step of actually addressing it and then simply charging back for the cost.
And we have properties that we can't find an actual person to talk to about getting anything done at all.
Right.
So we can send them a bill, but we don't have anyone to send it to. We put it on their taxes, then someone's gonna have to address it.
Thank you.
Hi, Mary Ann Rizzo, 25 Stoll Road. Just in support of this, the citizen, I want to make sure, I just don't know a lot about this, and when I saw the notice for the public hearing, I hadn't heard about it. And I'm sure it was online and I didn't see it or hadn't heard it spoken about during a town board meeting. But I just wonder, is there do you have like a flow chart of, you know, this step is going to be taken and then this step, and then a notice to the owner of the property that if it's not remedied within a certain amount of days, then we will be charging you this amount to do this work. And I just think the most communication you can give the citizen, and I realize this is probably, isn't going to happen a lot. It's probably for some vacant landowner perhaps, but I just think that, I mean, I had the experience this summer where my mower broke down and I was sick. And I changed the carburetor twice, and I finally had to get somebody in and everything. And it was just you know, my grass got a little high, and I know that I don't think you'd come after me for that. But I think just to protect the homeowner, and if you had like a flow chart, or maybe you have this, that this is what we're going to do. We're going to give you this notice and then this notice. But I heard $200 a day. Now that sounds very high to me. But maybe you're just saying, well, and then you'll end up putting a lien on the house, I assume, for when they, you know, they cease to own it again. So I guess I just want to make sure that it's not undue process.
Yeah.
John Limbeck, I'm the building inspector, and this
This isn't a step that would be taken lightly at all. I can speak about it because it's a matter of public record. I've got a subdivision over on Rush Henrietta Town Line Road, where I've issued 4 different notices of violations over the last 2 years for some fairly egregious violations that the developer has. He hasn't responded to any of those. We've worked out separate deals where he was going to correct the items. And we end up writing another notice of violation. And there isn't a set schedule of what you do for each individual one, because it depends on what the action is that you're trying to address. You're in the grass with your, that would never happen. This individual, I issued another notice of violation last June for 5, what I consider very serious violations. He had graded one of the houses, which isn't complete, and it has holes all throughout it, and it's loaded with junk. It's a new house. He graded that property incorrectly against what the site plan had approved. And when the rains came, it caused over $100,000 worth of damage to the house next door. And what we wanted to do was have the individual come in and regrade it to what had been approved by the planning board. Wouldn't do it, missed the time. I had him get rid of debris that was on the property. He dug holes on the property and buried it. It was things like this that were going on. I wanted to be able to get a contractor in there to redo the grading. And there were 3 other lots that need to be graded off and seeded. And we don't have the ability in our code for me to get a contractor in there, have the work done, and then have it assessed against the individual's taxes. We've got another property in-house. It's basically a zombie house. The taxes are being paid by a trust, but we don't have a local contact where we can get a hold of that individual to take care of the situations on those houses. So it's more egregious offenses that we're looking for this tool to be able to take that final step. But our process is to actually go knock on a door and try to talk to somebody and work through what their issues are so we can get those corrected. If that doesn't, well, when we do that, we follow that up with a letter saying, hey, we met on such and such a date. This is what we agreed to, and this is how we're going to go forward. If that doesn't work, then we'll follow with a notice of violation. A lot of times, you know, we might follow that with a second one, but then we go to the appearance ticket. Okay. And the one that I've got over on Rush Henrietta Town Line Road right now, that's exacerbated because it's now in foreclosure of the entire subdivision. So that makes it all that much more difficult for the town to get what we need done. Oh, sorry.
Do I come?
Thank you.
I signed up
Yeah.
for the other part of the
Yeah.
public hearing, and I still want to talk
Thanks,
to him,
John.
but I'm gonna come up with this.
Thanks, John.
If you can just reiterate your name just for the record.
Sure, no problem.
Okay. And
Mary Ellen Hayman for 1714 Middle Road. So I just want to say, this is the benefit of living in Rush. In a small community where everybody knows each other and people are nice to each other. I come from a community that had significant code enforcement issues. And it was unbelievable how hostile neighbors could be with each other when there was garbage piling up, when there was feces in the backyard, when there was houses that couldn't and shouldn't be inhabitable, and they were taken care of through code enforcement. So I have to say, it's good that you're beefing up code enforcement because you never know what you're gonna get.
Yep.
But to sit here and hear you talk about it, it's really nice that you haven't had problems before. And I highly recommend that this is something that is moved forward with and kept for those times when you have somebody who really just doesn't get it, doesn't care, and is not responsible. So kudos, good job, it works. All right, thank you very much.
I have Leslie Smith.
No, we're not.
That's all I have on my board for people to speak on this issue. I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
Alderman Marley,
Aye.
Bates,
Aye.
Eyes,
Aye. Aye.
Supervisor Wilbur.
Aye. public hearing on the local law to go beyond 2% taxing, cap.
So this local law as a public hearing to be held at Rush Town Hall, 5977 East Henry Road, Rush, New York, on the 24th day of September, 2025, at 16 local time, for the purpose of authorizing a property tax levy in excess of the limit established in General Municipal Law, Section 3-C. At such hearing, any person may be heard in favor of or against the property tax levy at both time and date. By order of the Rush Town Board.
Catherine Hankins.
Catherine Hankins, 2353 Pinnacle Road. I'd just like to I went on to the New York State Controller's website and found the history of our tax cap levy. Certainly, those who've been on the board would know that we have never exceeded the tax cap. It was launched in 2011. The first year was 2012. A bipartisan effort at the state level to make sure that residents in small towns, especially in the state of New York, could continue to live in their houses. And it was one attempt at the state level to make sure that there was a cap. The cap is not 2%, it's a formula. So I'm going to hand this out because one, there's no excuse. This town is not a poor town. We have just increased our property assessment value 60% in the last 2 years. Second, there's no excuse. We have been having the advantage of having an increase in the sales tax by an incredible amount and an increase in interest for our monies that are in the bank, bringing in $200,000 to $300,000 that is extra. But if we're putting those monies and looking at the budgets over the last few years, we have been taking from the unexpended balance, creating a new expenditure level that is increasing. I've done, I'm a data person. It is unacceptable not to stay within the cap. And why is it important? Because it's a slippery slope. It's a very slippery slope. So I'm going to give this to you, and I'm going to really encourage you to not even consider this evening. I was so shocked to see that you have a public hearing and then you're going to pass it. This is not a perfunctory law. This is a law. And I looked to see if anyone in the state of New York, 973 towns, ever passed a law like this in the organizational meeting. It doesn't happen. Why? Because you don't know if you're going to exceed the tax limit until you get into the budget process. And then in the New York State Town Law Manual, you have to say why you're going to exceed the tax limit. It is the intent of this local law to override the limit, not what we have put in here, which says the intent of this law is to allow the town board to do this. You have to know how much money you need before you come to the public to say you want to exceed that tax limit. There's no excuse to do that this evening, and there's no excuse until you tell us why there's something exceptional that this town has to have that would make us exceed that. So if it goes to vote, I certainly hope that some of you are wise enough, strong enough to reject it, because this is a slippery slope. The more we go into exceeding the tax limit, first time ever was last year. Now you're going to do it again. We are a wealthy town. There is no excuse. You need something, you put it on the table. Why you have to have something more? If you're taking the unexpended balance, the interest that we're getting from the bank, the sales tax that we were unexpectedly having higher, and putting it into salary and benefits, you cannot sustain it. When the interest rates go down, which they're going, when the sales tax end up having not coming in,
Those are monies that cannot be counted on to sustain the budget of a town. It's just going to cause more and more trouble. And when you see that 60% increase in our assessment, when it happened in 2022, and I was part of the budget process, we reduced the levy before we started to look at the budget. We reduced it. We knew where we were heading. That's what budget planning does. Say how much money. Hey, that's why the assessments come in first. So on July 1st, you knew that our town was valued 60% more. And then if we look back in terms of the history, our town has grown in value by over 100% in the last 5 years. But our growth in total properties for taxes has grown only 5 in the last year. In the last year before, 7 and since 2022. So 1.7% increase in the total properties in this town. We're not growing in terms of tax base, but we're growing in terms of our value as a town. You have to look at that closely because you're riding on people who are bought their homes at a reasonable cost, and now their home is more valuable than, and you're making them land rich and cash poor. That's just not, that's not fair to the taxpayers of this town. And you have to say, for what? Wonder whether that budget should have what you're gonna spend, but also I wanna know, make sure that you're gonna spend it on some things that this town needs, technical support. You know, Councilman Keys, you are so right. Our website is just a mess, but it's not because the website infrastructure is wrong. It's because no one is maintaining it. No one is keeping it up to date. No one is doing what they're supposed to do to keep a website stable. So do we spend $10,000 more? Or do we find the technical support? We would have so many people wanting to speak tonight. I spoke to some of them. They're not here. They're not here because they need to be on Zoom. So I appreciate the time here, but I'm going to give you this. This is our history over since 2020 of our using the tax cap. And if you don't know what this means, then you should stop and go back to the state controller's office and take a little, 5 minutes, 10 minutes to understand this does not as a result of the state mandates. A couple meetings ago, I think it was Councilman Brown and Councilman Chase that said was all because of the state mandates. You cannot blame the state mandates when it comes to the tax cap. There's exclusions. We must stop this. Because why? Because next year and the year after, it will become more and more unbearable for our taxpayers. So please, the tax cap has nothing to do with the tax rate. The tax rate went down last year, but that is not the most important role that the town board plays. The town board has to look at that tax levy. That's the key to understanding the budget. The other key is our assessment. So please, the tax rate, you can have it go down, but our taxes go up for some people. So think clearly before you do anything tonight, because the law, every law I read across the state of New York, it is the intent of this local law to override the limit, not to give you our blessing for something we have no idea what that budget is. And we don't have it. In the past, we've had it in September. Now it's not even going to be it's on a workshop meeting for October 5th. You're leaving us out. And when you leave people who actually have some knowledge, skills, and experience and want to help the town board, you should really open your mind and see that that's something that we could all do together and make it a better picture.
Alvin rapport.
I basically said what I wanted to say before Robin reported, and I would apologize. I agree with Kathy Hankins. The basic position is that you're asking for money. You haven't specified why. You're breaking the law because you think you can. All you have to do is get the vote in and we're done. That's really not the way to run the town. Okay, I know that you guys are doing it, but it really is not a good way to run the town. So I say very strongly no to the increased cap request. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. That's everyone I have on my sheet.
Can I get up then? Are they going to be under 100?
Pardon?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. That's fine. So sorry. And one more time. I'll be quiet. Mary Ellen's at Middle Road. I too would like to strongly encourage you not to exceed the tax cap for New York State tonight. And if you still consider that you may need to do that, if you could please wait until after you have a budget, at least to the point of in process. I did see on the newsletter that you talked about Excellus raising 25%, and you're not sure because it's not official yet, but it is official. I went to the New York State website, because the average Excellus small group health insurance rate is approved to increase by 15% for 2026. The new rates, which affect businesses with up to 100 employees, will take effect January 1st, 2026. So just that one piece seems maybe very small, but
That's a
from a
big piece.
financial point of view, it can be very big. And if you have all your other numbers in, then I would at least consider that you were doing something based on fact and not on conjecture.
Mhm.
So please, please, please postpone the vote, get the real information. And even at that time, I would probably encourage you not to exceed the tax cap because of a lot of the reasons that have already been said. However, I just wanted you to know it's not hard to find information, but I'm not part of your budget team, so may want to just get them going. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So Stoll Road. I just urge you to not increase the tax cap. And to work within our means, do whatever you can to keep it at no more than 2%. Last year, you increased it, the rate of change was 4.3%. And it seems to me that then when you increase it the next year, you increase it. You've already done 4.3 last year, and then if you're going to do another 4, whatever, then you're going to increase on the increase. So it becomes more exponential. And it's not sustainable for us as the taxpayer. So do whatever you can to trim the budget, please. Thank you.
Amy Schubach, 97 Woodruff Road. I just recap everything they said. I find it kind of amazing that we're even considering it when there is no budget yet. Does anybody know why we have to increase it that much? I mean, gosh, you really do need a budget. And I hope that you choose not to increase it because you've really already increased it last year, double what you should have. So I just vote no on all that if I could.
Thank you. Anyone else?
David McGlashan, April Lane. I've spoken about the tax cap increase a couple times. I join with the others to say to either postpone this vote or to vote against it. We really should be working within our means. And for a board that says they celebrate the history of our town, you're essentially pricing the history out of their homes right now. They won't be able to afford it anymore based on the burden of the assessments and the taxes increasing together. I think it's an anomaly that we're in a little town here and we're seeing that big of an assessment increase. And usually when that happens, you either stay level or slightly dip in rate. I know our school board taxes came out and yikes. But you still kind of saw a tiny percentage decrease when they did it. But our town is actually increasing it with the increase in the assessments, which is strange to see that. But again, you're not celebrating the history when you're kicking them out and there's no affordable housing for them to even move into in our town. And really that should be a last resort. Foiled the documents, was able to get 2025 down to 2022, but that information from the workshops was not permissible to me and was denied. So couldn't even really come up with any numbers here because I sat through the workshops and they were saying percentage increases, but is it a 3% increase on $300,000 or a 3% increase on $1? So there's a big difference. You don't really know what it is. And as a teacher, I usually get about a 2.5 to 2.7% increase every year in my contract. It's really nice to see employees in the town will be getting a 3.2, but the supervisor will be getting a 4.4 as the proposed to start. I feel like it should just stay equal in percentages at least. I don't know, and we just had that huge increase of $30,000 to that salary. And because we do have that health insurance that you're saying that that's going to be an increase. One, we should also be negotiating maybe some other different forms, like that's a primo health insurance that the employees are getting. Like it's really great for them, but it is a burden because school districts do offer that to teachers as well, but that's very costly to the district. And usually the employees have to pay a little bit more into those. So maybe some other options for that. So yeah, I guess salaries is the biggest thing to look at. Those are things you can control in the percentage on that. So especially that financial director and that supervisor salary, I'd maybe bring that back down to at least the percentages that the employees will be getting. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Jim Hart, I live on West Castle Road. This last assessment we had, I'm sure it raised everybody's taxes sky high, this last one. And I don't know, sometimes I wonder how that assessment's made, because mine went up about $116,000 just for 1 year. And a lot of people can't afford that, you know, with all the money that these assessments are going. You think that all this money that people are getting to pay for town of Rush, they would have more than enough money to cover it. So I don't know, why do you think they gotta raise the tax cut over 2%? You know, it's always been that way now, and all of a sudden you want to change it. Now it's gonna price a lot of people right out of town with all these taxes. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you. Anyone else? Make a motion to close the public hearing. Okay.
Francis Rapport, I would just like an opportunity that the whole residents of town be addressed and raise their hands if they're in favor, and for how many are against the increased tax rate. So yeah, because
it's more of a comment period, it's not, that's not.
well, you know, not everybody is gonna comment, but to me also, I mean, I'm on the Board of Assessment Review, and it's a real burden that, you know, and I'm also a real estate agent, and the real estate market is totally crazy. And because of that, you know, the assessments have gone up, and to have, in addition to that increase, to have the tax rate be doubled is crazy. Yeah, you know, because the population of this town, you know, most of us are not young anymore. you know, and our income is fixed.
Mhm.
So it just, we need to have a budget first. Obviously, how can you justify a tax rate increase when you don't have a budget? And also, we need to really have time to scrutinize the budget and not look, what can we add? But maybe we don't need. Okay, the library to me is the cultural center of the town. It's a great service. But meanwhile, I don't get water. I don't have my road plowed. I don't have gas. My kids finished school, 30 years ago, and I'm still paying the school taxes. Other than the snowplow, I'm not, the library is the one facility that I really benefit, and I think it's, run extraordinarily well. I think it's probably the best library in Monroe County. But I don't, I really like the trail, but I don't get any more use from the town. I don't know how other people feel, but, yeah, and I would, I volunteer at the library. We don't get paid for volunteering, And I think people are very generous, our citizens, in terms of, giving their time to the community. So, yeah. I would pose that maybe in the future, ask everybody, raise your hands, you're for this, you're against it. Are we a democracy or are we not?
Thank you.
Public meeting, discussion, just comment. You can say what you want, but it is a comment.
I hear everybody advocate for fixed incomes, right? I totally hear it. It's fantastic. I'm a little bit younger and I wanted to speak for the younger population. At some point in time, we're going to start seeing more and more turnover and rush, and we'll want to attract younger generations to upkeep the homes that people spend all of their hard-earned money and time working on and keeping this community beautiful. So for the sake of speaking for a younger generation as well, right? We're working as hard as we can. Making ends meet at this point in time in history is very difficult. So any haven that you guys can help create that allows us to seek reprieve here and continue to keep this community beautiful, I think is a fantastic thing. And just urge you to consider that as well. It's not just fixed income folks, but also the younger generation that we can help attract and keep maintaining this community. Thank you.
Thank you. What else? All right, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
Councilwoman Morale,
Aye.
Councilman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Kais,
Aye.
Councilman Chase,
Aye.
Supervisor Wilbur,
Aye. Approval of the minutes for September 10th.
I so move, having reviewed town board minutes of Wednesday, September 10, 2025, as submitted by Town Clerk Hargrave. Do I have a second? I'll second that.
Morale,
Aye.
Councilman Chase,
Aye.
Councilman Kais,
Aye.
Councilman Brown,
Aye.
Supervisor Wilbur,
Aye. Approval of the abstract. Councilperson Morelli.
So, having reviewed all vouchers on abstract 9-2 dated September 24th, 2025, authorizing payment totaling $50,750.10, which includes Fund AA General for $21,753.78, DA Highway Townwide for $22,090.44. HH Capital Projects Fund of $2,136.21, and LL Library for $4,769.67. Do I have a second?
No second.
Councilwoman Morale,
Aye.
Councilman Chase.
Aye.
Councilman Kais,
Aye.
Councilman Brown,
Aye.
Supervisor Willover,
Aye.
I didn't see anything unusual in this abstract to report on.
There was a big health insurance bill.
Yes, there was a big health insurance bill. Speaking of health insurance.
Yeah.
So, it's within our budget, what we budgeted for this year. But yeah, we do have to talk about that.
And DJ was able to fix Kavanaugh Road without having to purchase $25,000 worth of piping, so
That's a good thing.
that's a good thing. Report of officers. Deputy Supervisor Chase,
I have nothing to report.
Councilperson Morelli,
So I attended the Rush Fire District Board of Fire Commissioners meeting last week. It was on Tuesday, September 16th. And I guess the one thing that you would be interested in is that they did approve their budget, the fire district. You know, the fire district is a separate taxing authority. We don't, it's independent. We have nothing to do with it, but they did approve it. There will be a public hearing on that budget on Tuesday, the third Tuesday in October, which is October 21st. So there will be a public hearing at the fire district to go over their budget. And they did stay within the tax cap calculation in that budget, so.
Councilperson Kais,
There is no conservation board meeting this month. The one next month, they're looking to move it to the 14th Tuesday. Evidently there was some conflict for the second Thursday of the month. Also, they sent a letter, and you all have a copy of it in your folder. It came from the Conservation Board in regards to this pickleball court. I'd like to read it to you. It says, "Dear Town Board, it has come to our attention that you are considering sites for a pickleball court in the town of Rush. It has been discussed at the town board meetings that the area just northwest of the gazebo on the town hall campus is being considered. This area has stately mature trees as well as memorial trees planted and dedicated to the beloved townspeople. As a board, we feel the removal and possible destruction of the trees is not in the best interest in protecting the aesthetic principles of the town campus. In addition, trees absorb great amounts of rainwater, provide shade, oxygen, habitat for birds, and greatly add to the beauty of the area. Therefore, we are asking the alternative, perhaps treeless site be chosen for this project. We also respectfully request an opportunity to review other sites that are considered to provide our input related to this conservation issue. Thank you, Rush Conservation Board." And you'll have a copy of that.
speaking of the pickleball court, we just made a motion that if we're being considered for a grant to put in a pickleball court. We had to have a motion that if we got the grant, we would accept the money. And we don't have a spot picked out. We're still looking into it. We don't even have the money to do it. It's just, we had to be ready in case we got it. We could use the money and put in a ball court somewhere in the town. I would prefer it around the campus, but we could maybe put it out somewhere different than. We can look at where it could go better. I did receive some petitions, 56 people who apparently play pickleball and they would like to see a pickleball court come to the town. And that's that. Derek, you have a
There's one application in front of the zoning board and there's a public hearing next meeting on the 16th of October.
okay. Pamela,
do have a report. I submitted the August town clerk monthly revenue report to the supervisor with a check for $16,157.10. And state revenue funds were submitted in the amount of $1,342.13. State revenue increased because of the hunter licensing sales that just opened up. I received a tentative 2026 Rush District budget proposed, and now I hear that it has been approved. So I'm sure that I will get that information as well. Although we received any compliments about the gorgeous begonias planted out in front entrance, I asked the highway crew if they would break into the fall beautification. So there's mums out there now. So sorry for those that really love those begonias. I also do have the tentative budget, and I am going to submit it to all of the board members, and this follows the New York State Town Law, section 106(2), which states that I have to submit the budget to the town board at open meeting. So this is the tentative budget.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What it does mean is tentative numbers. And once it becomes preliminary and the board has reviewed it and discussed it, I believe they are going to put together another workshop that anybody can attend to and listen. Once it becomes the preliminary is when it is become public, and the town board tells me to issue it to the public. And that's.
Thank you. Kevin, do you have a report?
Not this.
Can I
Uh,
get this in Excel, please? I've been asking
She's-
for that.
You'll be in tomorrow. It'll come into Excel.
Thank you.
Yes.
The way
Yeah.
previously been done, so.
Yeah. I've talked to her. It's gonna be available in Excel. I attended the Monroe County Supervisors meeting last Friday. They were discussing countywide compost. Trying to put together countywide compost for different towns to handle it. It's preliminary, it's through the county. They don't have a lot of details yet, but that's what they're thinking. And that was that. Moving on to the old business, like to vote on the local law for maintenance issues.
Resolution number to be determined of 2025. This is a resolution to adopt local law number to be determined of 2025, adding section to chapter 36-16, enforcement of penalties for offenses. I so move, whereas the town board of the town of Rush, the town board has determined that it is in the interest of the town of Rush to amend the code of the town of Rush by detailing chapter 36-16 of the town code and replacing it in its entirety regarding enforcement penalties for offensive, and whereas a public hearing on the local law number to be determined of 2025 was held on September 24th, 2025, in accordance with the requirements of the New York State Municipal Home Rule Law, and notice was posted as required by law, and whereas all persons at the hearing desiring to speak on the matter were heard. All correspondence on the matter was read, and these statements were considered by the board. Now therefore be it resolved that the adoption of local law number to be determined of 2025 is not an action defined under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law, and 6 NYCRR Part 617, collectively referred to as seeker, and thus is not subject to review under seeker. And be it further resolved upon due consideration by the town board, local law number to be determined of 2025, a copy of which is attached and incorporated hereto, is hereby adopted, and that chapter 36-16 of the Rush Town Code shall be amended as reflected in the local law number to be determined of 2025. And be it further resolved that notice of the resolution shall be filed and circulated to the extent required by any applicable provision of the town code and or any relevant statute or regulation. And be it further resolved that the said resolution and local law shall take effect immediately upon town clerk submitting the same to the office of the Secretary of State for filing in accordance with section 27 of New York State Municipal Home Rule Law. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilman Morale,
Aye.
Councilman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Chase.
Aye.
Councilman Pies.
Aye.
Supervisor Wilbur.
Aye. The resolution for the tax cap will hold off till after we get a look at the new budget that's just been handed to us.
Thank you. I support that delay.
We need to schedule a workshop for the tentative budget that we just received, like to do it on October 6th.
I so move to schedule a town board workshop to discuss the 2026 tentative budget on October 6, 2025. At the Rush Town Hall.
Yep. 7 o'clock.
At 7 PM, 5977 East Henrietta Road, Rush, New York, 14543. Do I have a second?
I'll second that. I'm sorry.
Before you go forward, John Lindbeck, I just want to note that we are at the max tonight. What we're allowed for occupancy for this room. And if you're anticipating a larger crowd for the workshop, before you motion to have it here, you might want to think about having it in the pavilion, just so Rick or I don't have to ask people to leave. This.
Good point.
Oh, let's see.
Thanks, John.
If it's available.
Address different, or do we just?
1901 Rush Castle.
Do we want to have it there?
If it's open, I think we probably should. Or would you wait for Pam to clarify?
Pardon?
All right, so I so move to schedule a town board workshop meeting to discuss the 2026 tentative budget on Monday, October 6, 2025 at 7 PM at
1901.
at the Recreation Hall, 1901 Rush Scottsville Road, Rush, New York, 14543. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Councilman Morale,
Aye.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Chase.
Aye.
Councilman Pies.
Aye.
Aye. And we need a resolution for an agreement with Pat Rose, an independent contractor who works for the Recreation Department.
I so move to authorize the town of Rush annual agreement to contract with Patricia Rose, independent contractor, to provide services to the Rush Recreation Department for an amount not to exceed $1,000 per year. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Councilman Morale,
Aye.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Chase.
Aye.
Pies.
Aye.
Supervisor Wilbur.
Aye. I'd like to remind everybody the Fall Festival is this Saturday over at White Springs Farm. Expecting a big crowd and the weather's gonna be beautiful. Anybody interested? Conservation Board will be the 14th of October, Zoning Board the 16th of October, and Planning Board the 23rd. And having conducted all the town businesses for tonight, make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I don't. Good. Thank you for your comments tonight.
I was gonna shake hands with him, but I think I'm gonna pass.
Yeah.
Best not.
But I'm gonna, we had sent an email earlier today, like, we're together, stormwater drainage.
Yes.
And I just wanted to, we were both here, we just wanted to come up, basically show our face.
We never formally introduced myself other than on the podium, so.
So.
We're looking into it. The county seems to be interested in
Yeah.
helping us out with, so it's just now trying to schedule something.
It is